Meanwhile, another teacher at a local elementary school is on administrative leave and under investigation by police after a teacher's aide reported a young child with autism was physically assaulted. At least 8 people were injured when a suspect hurled an incendiary device known as a Molotov cocktail into a group of protesters after shouting "Free Palestine" on Sunday. That's closed off right now. You won't be able to get through there, and I've been told by officers this is just standard procedure when they have such a big moment like this. This morning, Tucson Water is still working to fix a water main break on the north side. Although the water has now receded, neighbors say the damage is already done. The family of Paul Clifford is speaking exclusively to News 4 Tucson investigators in their first interview since Clifford was found brutally murdered on Christmas Eve. Well, the sky may not have been cooperating very well last night, but if you looked close enough, a total lunar eclipse was visible last night. And that is where this execution is going to happen of Aaron Gunches. This is going to be the first execution in Arizona in 3 years. Minor incidents. That's how President Donald Trump is describing the violent acts that happened on January 6th, 2021. I see the phrase last hot day behind you. I don't really believe you, though. Well, I'm not sure what's going on here.
It's the last hot day of this week. I should clarify
there's a trick. Yeah, there's always a catch. I get it.
Yeah,
Coming up on News 4 Tucson today, it's something commonplace in school, the cell phone. And one Arizona school is doing away with them. How they plan to actually make it happen ahead. Plus, the Southside neighborhood's Thursday evening was disrupted by lights, sirens, and a dangerous car crash. What led police on that hectic chase and what neighbors are telling us today.
But up next, we have a very stable atmosphere, but a cool down is on the way. We're going to talk about when that is coming up. Tucson Today starts right now.
From KVOA, News 4 Tucson, this is Tucson Today.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Robbie Reynold. It's time for a look at your traffic and weather together with Storm Tracker 4 meteorologist Dee Cortez. We're starting us off with a look at that forecast, Dee, because we do have warmer temperatures coming our way.
Yeah, we've been...
Well, walks between classes and lunchtime are going to look and sound a lot different for students at South Point Catholic High School here in Tucson. That's because they're doing away with something that most kids have these days, their cell phones. They're doing it through what's called the Cell Phone Task Force pilot program, the plan being detailed out in a message sent to parents earlier this month. The first step, they say, towards getting rid of the classroom distractions for good. It's a move that has students split. South Point Principal Artemis Martin says faculty, including a panel of parents, have been working on this plan since January, and if everything goes as planned, the program will go into effect next January. We're bringing you the very latest on a dangerous police chase through the South Side. That chase yesterday ended with a crash and the shutdown of a South Side road. News 4 Tucson's Jafet Serrato has more on what happened and a reaction from people who saw it firsthand. And we're learning more about another crash that happened this morning that one person was seriously injured in on the north side on Tuesday afternoon. The Pima County Sheriff's Department says it happened yesterday near McGee and Oracle. Camino Desierto was closed but has since reopened for your commute this morning. Stay with News 4 Tucson as we learn more. The water will be shut off for several Wilcox homeowners this morning because of a broken water main. City officials say water service will impact people at or near Pierce between Arizona and Bisbee Avenues. It will last from 7:30 in the morning until noon, while crews work to divert the water from that broken main so construction can start on a proper fix. The Vail Unified School District announced this week the termination of its agreement with the LDS Church. Recently, the district approved a 10-year deal allowing a Mormon seminary to be built on Cienega High School campus. The district recently met with church representatives to discuss the agreement, and the church formally notified them of its decision to end that deal. The move ends both the lease and the donation agreement after weeks of protest and controversy. Well, a busy night for the Tucson City Council. They've called for a special election this November. At Tuesday's council meeting, members discussed Plan Tucson 2025. The plan aims to guide the city's future development. It has been in the works for over 2 years, and now there will be a special election on November 4th, allowing residents to vote on it. A public hearing is scheduled for May 20th, where residents can share their feedback. The council will also be able to make changes to the proposed plan. And the Tucson Mayor and Council also approved a special election to allow voters to decide on a proposed franchise agreement with Tucson Electric Power. That's also going to happen on November 4th. The special election will only proceed if an agreement is reached by July 1st. The proposed franchise agreement includes commitments from TEP, such as supplying 100% renewable energy to the city, providing infrastructure for an energy project at Donna Ligon Center, and an energy cooperation agreement. If an agreement is not reached, the special election will be canceled. Sharon McDonough is set to become the new chief of the Tucson Fire Department after the council approved her appointment also at last night's meeting. She will be the first woman fire chief in Tucson's history. She has been a firefighter, a paramedic, captain, battalion chief, and a deputy chief. It comes after previous fire chief Chuck Ryan retired. McDonough has been serving as the interim fire chief and starts her new role on June 2nd. A procession is underway in Rome to transfer Pope Francis' coffin from his home to St. Peter's Basilica, where he will lie in state before his funeral on Saturday. That procession happened early this morning, with the Pope's coffin entering the Basilica this morning just after midnight, Arizona time. Jay Gray has details on the next steps.
Welcome back. Conservationists are trying to change hunting laws here in Arizona when it comes to using dogs.
So multiple conservation groups have filed a petition with Arizona Game and Fish.
News for Tucson, Robbie Reynold takes a look at the issue from all sides.
Dogs have been used for hunting for centuries. Their great noses make them excellent at tracking game. However, the groups behind this petition believe that dog hunting has gotten out of hand, with packs of dogs equipped with GPS tracking making the hunt unfair.
Like many other U.S. states, Arizona has fair chase rules governed by Game and Fish to ensure hunters engage in an ethical chase of wildlife. For example, trail cameras and drones are against the law. The Center for Biological Diversity, along with 5 other conservation groups in the state, believe dog-assisted hunts fall under that fair chase category. They say a large pack of dogs is unfair to other animals. Plus, with the use of GPS technology, hunters can keep track of their dogs at large distances, meaning they'll travel unsupervised through Arizona's public lands.
Do we think hunters unleashing packs of tracking dogs linked to satellites is compatible with fair chase? Are we willing to risk Arizona's wild heritage, including the recovery of jaguars, ocelots, and Mexican wolves, just so that wealthy trophy hunters can get their photo with a dead lion?
Chuck Podolak is the president of Conserve and Protect Arizona, and he's pushing back against the petition. He says the advantages of dogs and GPS are being over-exaggerated, and it still takes a skilled and adept hunter to track an animal, even with that assistance.
They make it sound like it's a video game or it's a guarantee, and it's absolutely not. I think anyone who has a chance to go out with a houndsman, anyone who has a chance to go out in the field with someone who's looking for any of these animals they purport to ban, it really doesn't understand what it is and what it isn't.
The authors of the petition specified that this would only apply to dogs being used to track large animals like bears or cats, and not for dogs being used to fetch waterfowl. Now, they don't specify if this would apply to a single dog being used for a hunt, but the Game and Fish Department has a 15-day review period to decide if they want to accept the proposal, and if they do, they'll have 60 days to consider it. Robbie Reynold, News 4 Tucson.
Robbie Reynold is live in Black Forest with more on their efforts. So, Robbie, these homeowners have been working nonstop.
Yeah, that's correct, Diane. It's been nothing but snow plowing, busting out old generators. In fact, you see behind me, workers still working to repair those power lines that were damaged in the storm. Residents telling me that every day they've had to find a new way to get through the struggle. When the storm hit, Henry Culver thought that plowing snow would be his biggest problem. But when he finished the driveway, he realized he had a bigger problem.
The power started going in and out, and then all of a sudden, sometime about noon, it just died.
Culver and his family figured they could last with bottled water and cold food, but when the power didn't come back on Thursday, he had to bust out his old generator.
I'll be surprised and happy if we get this by Monday, power restored. It looks like they have a lot of work on their hands.
Culver and other residents tell me staying warm has been the biggest challenge.
This morning when I got up, it was 11 degrees outside and 37 degrees inside.
Gary LaMontagne and his wife have been sleeping in their coats. Fortunately, they found a way to cook.
First we did cold foods, and then we figured out that we could turn the stove on, because all the electricity does is light the igniter to start the stove, since we have a gas stove.
Homeowners on Herring are working as a team. Joseph Smith used his neighbor's snowplow to clear driveways.
There's a couple of cars stuck here, and there's people here on the corner. They couldn't get out at all. The road was completely blocked.
Now, most of those affected homeowners are along Herring Road. That's one of the worst areas that was impacted. Mountain View says they hope to restore power to most homes by 11 o'clock tonight, but residents tell me they've really stocked up on supplies just in case they need to be ready through the weekend, Diane. Reporting live in Black Forest, Robbie Reynold, KKTV 11 News.
Gosh, absolutely miserable for them. All right, Robbie, thank you.